right, and we are back with another episode, and joining me today we have Courtney Bowles. How's it going?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on and chatting.
No problem.
So
Happy to be here.
awesome. So for starters, Courtney, for those watching who may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
So, I grew up in Scarborough, Ontario. I don't know if you guys know where that is. So, let's just say Toronto, but a little bit on the outside. So, that's pretty much, I grew up a city girl, but fell in love with country music when I went to school up in North Bay for college. And my roommate actually played the fiddle. And she showed me how she could do the Old Crow Medicine Show version of, which is the original version, by the way, of Wagon Wheel. And I fell in love with it. And I remember one of the second ones I fell in love with was like Honeybee
Okay.
by Blake Shelton. It's just like such a tune to this day. But I just remember hearing those and just being like, I grew up with a dad who didn't really like country music, and I'm a daddy's girl, so I automatically just kind of like had that attitude as well. Even though I had a few token, country songs I liked, I definitely wasn't open to it. And then, in love as soon as I hit college, it was just, the country didn't stop and hasn't stopped.
And so what genre were you into before the country?
Kind of everything in between, and surprisingly a little bit of a harder taste. So I like to joke around because I have forearm tattoos, and they're actually lyrics. And so I have the Beatles, but I also have a band called Alisana, which is like a little bit harder, has a little bit of screaming in it.
Okay.
I like to say that I like harder stuff with, I don't like to say it's screamo because lots of people don't like screamo, but it really needs to be melodic for me. And some different forms of punk are like crazy melodic, whether it's, their guitar solos or the vocals. Like, yeah. So I was like a huge fan of like Mariana's Trench, and surprisingly, like Usher and Jay-Z were a huge part of my growing up. I think that's kind of like growing up in Scarborough a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, that all of that kind of stuff, and then top 40, just like whatever was hitting the radio and all my friends were playing, I was listening to.
See, that's what I was into, like the Jay-Z and I was also into like the 90s R&B and hip hop and all that stuff. Country was kind of like I would go to a wedding, you hear a country song, I'm like, yeah, this is great to dance to kind of thing. And
Yeah.
uh yeah, once I kind of got into the country scene out here, it was kind of like, well, this is actually amazing. And then yeah, then it was like, it's probably one of my favorite genres, to be honest.
Right. That's what happened to me too. And I think part of it is shout out to the country community because you guys are awesome. Like, you're so welcoming. You definitely know how to party.
Yeah.
And like, I've never been to a country concert that isn't just like wildin'.
Yeah. What was your first country concert?
Oh my goodness. It was not Chris Young. I always say it was Chris Young, and then it's the wrong Chris. Um, Hold on. Chris Buck Band?
Chris Buckman, okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because there was not, no, it was Chris Rice. Okay, here we are. Chris Rice was the headliner. But why that was like in the back of my mind is, do you know the Cadillac 3?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so they actually surprised everyone by showing up, and they like opened for Chris Rice. And I've watched Nashville, and I saw them on the show Nashville. And so I was like, I know them. And I maybe had a few bevies before going to the concert. So I was like super fanning, front row, got a guitar pick, got a drumstick. Like I was on cloud 1100. I had such a good time.
That's funny. Is it Chris or is it Chase Rice? You mean Chase Rice? That's the one?
I'm the worst.
Oh,
Chase,
no,
I'm sorry.
no,
You were
no.
really good.
I was like, is there a Chris Rice? I'm like trying to think. I'm like, maybe it's someone I don't know, kind of thing.
Honestly, it's because I always say Chris Young when I
Yes.
mean to say Chase Rice. And so I just like have mixed them. I mean, it's because they're both amazing. So it's not really like because you're forgettable. It's because you're both really good.
Hey, I'm
But
terrible with
yeah,
names. Let's no hard feelings here.
I know. They'll probably never hear this anyway, but just in
Probably
case,
not.
I love you both.
Awesome. Yeah, my first concert. Oh man, this is when I didn't even like country. It was my buddy was like a huge Taylor Swift fanatic. It was like super. I don't know. Anyways, he got tickets. I didn't have to pay for the
I'm
tickets.
not judging. I'm like, you're
Eh,
just dropping like, oh, I didn't even like country, but I went and saw Taylor Swift.
listen, well, it's funny because I wasn't a fan. I just went
Yeah,
for him, kind of thing. I
yeah,
was like, well, free concert, why not? I love music either way. And
yeah.
it was Taylor Swift was the opener, and it was Kenny Chesney as the headliner.
Oh,
And it was like we were like row 11 on the floor, and then all of a sudden it was a party. Everyone like moved the chairs out of the way and popping on shoulders, and I was like, this is actually kind of fun. Like
right. I told you
I
they know how to party.
still was like, whatever kind of thing, right? I just had
Yeah,
fun. But yeah, it didn't turn me over to country yet though, but I had fun.
that is quite the introduction, though. That's awesome because, like, if you saw her as an opener too, because now I think she has one of like she's like compared to Beyonce as far as
Oh yeah,
her
big
like
headliner.
what this show she puts on, right? So I imagine, what you saw then versus what you'd see now is probably really different, but it's still kind of really cool to, say that your first concert was, well, first country concert was her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What was your first concert, if you don't mind me asking?
oh geez, there was this artist. I'm trying to remember his name. I feel like he was on Canadian Idol or something.
True.
I think his name was George, just straight George.
Yeah, I had his album. I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about?
What am I supposed to do when it's dark outside?
Maybe that might be
Won't
it.
you
I
lie to
don't
me,
even
baby? Oh, I love me some George. He's like almost mixed looking.
Yes.
Yes, we are on the same page. Okay,
Okay, that's funny. I was just like,
I do.
I hope I get this name right. Here we are talking about messing up names.
No, it's cool. No, you nailed it. Funny thing, I was playing a show in Scarborough at Wild Wing, and the guy who co-wrote his first album was there, and I covered a George song, and he was like,
He's like, how do you
"You're
know?
singing my song," and I was like, "Pardon?" And he's like, "I wrote this," and I was like, what a moment for both of us. But
Right?
he's like, "You did such a great job," and I was like, "Okay, that's the coolest thing anyone's ever said."
That's amazing.
Right?
All right, Courtney. If someone's never heard your music before, how would you describe it?
I would first tell you that there's always a story. So I know lots of songwriters say this, and that's because it's the truth. We like telling stories. That's why we do this, right? We want someone to feel something when they hear our music. And the way that I like to do that is by trying to tell a relatable story and sharing something, not necessarily even my own experience, but like an experience that has moved me and I feel, will help others.
Okay, nice. And
Yeah.
do you have I want to know like inspirations, but I want to know who inspires you directly towards songwriting and
Okay.
one towards performing.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so I have to drop in some Megan Patrick because her live show is like,
She's so good and she's great. She's such a nice person.
I have yet to meet her. I feel like I've kind of been following and like going from different towns that she used to play in because she's from Bowmanville, not too far from where I started music in Oshawa.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've played in Bowmanville a couple times now. And yeah, it's just so exciting to see same with Robin Ottolini, right? To see them go from like small town Ontario and like now they're just like doing their international thing. And
Absolutely.
I don't know, it makes me really proud as a Canadian and just like an Ontario girl, just knowing that there's some, I mean, good job guys, but like that there's some girls out kicking butt too.
Oh, they are. I mean, what do you have? You have Tennille Towns.
Oh, right. There's so many
All these girls from here.
coming out of Canada too.
Yeah.
I love it.
And there's more. More are coming. Like it's unreal.
Oh, absolutely. I like to think so.
Absolutely. Anyways, so Megan Patrick.
Oh, right. Yes. The question. So performance wise, I would say Megan Patrick. Also lyrically, but we'll just do one at a time. So definitely performance Megan Patrick, but I'll drop in like just to be extra, like a Prince, only because like that's actually like if I could just be a super diva and wear like a onesie, like sequined suit and just do my thing. I think that that would probably be my happy place. But I'm happy to play my instruments and, you know, do my thing accordingly as well. But yeah, if I could even get remotely close to the show that he put on, that
Yes.
would be so cool. Yeah, obviously Freddie Mercury, like
Yes.
the like, oh yeah, can't even start about that. And then I would say songwriting, very much the Beatles. I grew up with, that's why I have the Beatles tattoo on me. I have Blackbird, by the way. But yeah, my dad loved the Beatles, and so I think so not lyrically. I'm going to be specific about this because I think they really, really impacted the way that I write songs in like a poppy. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's be clear, but like when I'm like vomiting, you know, a progression, or I'm trying to come up with something, and it hits. That's what we call it here, or whatever. It's just like, oh, you know, that's like really catchy, like, you know. And almost everything the Beatles put out was like that. Not saying that everything I put out was like that, but I just think that I learned a lot about what notes you can use and what people like to hear versus what the pop, because I was very much just like a popular music listener.
Right.
So I don't know. I think I just really paid attention to what people loved about their songwriting style. I think lyrically, I'm really inspired by rappers, which is really weird, but true.
Yeah.
Give me some Immortal Technique. Give me some like Hobson. Yeah, just I really like it's a songwriting thing, I guess, right? Like I really like things that tell a story and get you. And I guess I like rap because they have a lot more time to tell you the story. Like Eminem, the way that he like articulates some of his music to me completely doesn't make sense when he talks about like hamsters and stuff, but like most of the songs, yeah, they can like hit you, right? And like there's been so many times in my life where I've turned to those kinds of songs just because like I feel like that 5 or 12-minute song, I can like get it versus like the 3-minute pop song where it's like it's almost over before it starts, and like I'm just like I'm here for the emotion. Like
That's awesome.
yeah,
Did you watch the Beatles documentary?
I did. Yes.
What was your thoughts?
Oh, we're gonna do this. Okay.
Listen, tell me your thoughts. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't. It's so long. I haven't had the time to sit and actually watch it.
True.
And-
I haven't watched it cover to cover either.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen a lot of clips, and part of it is because I actually like there's a lot of parts I'm trying to think of the specific. Basically just when she who is not named is in like I just can't handle the like the vocal stuff that she does. Like it's just to me, I know that there's like a whole like she has more fans than I could ever dream of, and like it's all good. But just for me personally, like I just didn't like and I don't enjoy her stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, like when just the way that she was like it seemed that she was like intrusive as far as like their rehearsals and their songwriting process and stuff like that. It didn't make me feel a different way about the Beatles, but it just kind of like helped me understand why there was so much negative energy around her and that whole experience. And what I found interesting too is that the band didn't seem to be like affected or annoyed.
Right.
They were just like, okay. And it probably because he was like, she's here and we're not talking about it and whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just really interesting. I didn't enjoy that part again, just because of, I don't enjoy her vocals. And
Yeah.
I just felt again, like, I was just like, why are you there? Like, let them write.
Right.
Like, how many more things would they have created if she wasn't there? Just being like,
Right. For sure. That's
kind of like where I go, but everything happens for a reason. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed it. But like those parts, I was just kind of like, why is this happening?
why is she here?
Right. Yeah. And me and my partner are both musicians. So we both would never, we don't do that.
Right.
like when we have rehearsals and stuff, like we do not intrude on each other's, creative process. Of course we invite each other to shows and all of that. And even, I have sat in on one because my Graham Unstead, he plays with the Beresfords.
Yeah.
And so I've sat in on a rehearsal with them, but like we definitely like made sure it was okay and everyone was comfortable, because it's such a creative and like vulnerable place. Like you don't necessarily want people in the room that you're not comfortable with.
That's right.
So I think because I'm a creative and I've been there, and it's like I've been put on the spot where I'm not comfortable to be vulnerable, where you have to be to make music. And it's like, how hard must it have been for even people who are that amazing and that big? Like, it's a lot.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's what I thought. I'm sorry for the rant, but
it's all good. I set it up that way,
True. Well, I appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's talk your music now. Your new single, Wanted. Tell us about it, how it all came together.
Oh, it's so exciting. So out of nowhere in December, not out of nowhere, but I got this offer with Red Brick Country, and they're like, hey, we kind of want to help you make music. We think you're pretty awesome and you work your butt off, and we want to make stuff easier for you. And I was like, okay, what's the catch?
Yep.
As we do. But there really wasn't one. And it's been an amazing experience, like songwriting, like learning new things about the industry. I'm on Sirius XM now. Like I didn't even know how to apply to that. So that was really cool. There's just so many things that and now I'm learning too. I think it's important for an artist to know what's happening and to know, I mean, you don't need to know everything. You don't need to necessarily be a producer if you're an artist, but it's always good to know the language and the words to use.
That's right. Yeah.
Even if you can't necessarily do it, but just to understand what's going on. I'm always asking questions. That's who I am. It might be annoying, but I'm never going to pretend I know what you're talking about if you don't, because I want to learn. Like if I don't know what that word means, I'll be like, what is that?
Yeah, for sure. You have to.
Yeah, I feel like you do. And I think by doing that, it makes other people comfortable to, if they don't understand something or want clarity, it's like, just ask me. I got you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell us about the writing process for this single.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. This has been kind of different for me because I've done co-writing where I've been in the room with people, but over COVID, that wasn't really happening. And I was streaming a lot. And so I was writing myself, but I wasn't co-writing. And then in November, my friend Terry Ferdinand reached out to me and was like, hey, like, I've been wanting to write with you forever. Like, let's do this thing. Yeah. And so I'd never done a Zoom write before. So that's kind of what kicked it off. And so I've done a ton of them now. And Wanted was one of the things that came up in one of the massive Zooms in another group, actually. It was like kind of workshopped as it goes, right? So it was Terry, Jeff Caddo, Amber Mitchell, and G.I. Holm, who's the producer as well. They were all having a writing sesh. I couldn't be there. I was teaching that evening. And they're like, hey, let's write a song for Courtney. Let's see if like we can come up with a song that would be like Courtney's vibe. And so they send me this demo and I'm like, this is like Megan Patrick meets like Carrie Underwood meets like the best song ever. Like, I love this so much. I'm like, this is so badass. Like, let's do this. I'm like, we'll work on the lyrics. There's a few things that I wanted to tweak and all that stuff. But yeah, and then it just, within, a few weeks, we had it put all together. And I think the real magic was when GI had got his hands on it, yep. On the production side, because like, you'll recognize, like, I think this is what I think that what's so important in country music for me is like in the first like couple minutes, not minutes, sorry, songs are only a couple minutes. In the first couple seconds, I want to know what song's coming on. Because especially as an artist, for me, I'm like, I want to sing along. So it's like, if I like hear those couple notes and I'm like, oh yeah, this is Luke Combs, or like, oh yeah, this is whoever. That's my goal for my tunes. I'm like, man, I want people to know it's me. And I think like that Wanted beat, although like, sure, it could be compared to other songs, like many are, but I just think that beat is really recognizable. and the chorus is catchy. And like, yeah, I just think it was stuck in my head and still is. I've also gotten a lot of annoyed, lovely messages about people who can't stop singing it. So I don't know. It makes me really happy. I'm really proud of being a part of the process, and just hearing that first time, those like that driving beat at the start and how it developed. I was just like, this is really cool. This is something.
That's awesome. And available on all platforms, obviously, especially if
It's available on every single streaming platform as well as your social media. So if you guys want to do me a solid, it would be so awesome if you were to use Wanted as a background for any video. If you use a story or post a story on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, you can actually search me in the music, which is wild. First time I did that, freaked out. And my little face appears, and then you can pick any of my tunes. Yeah, and I actually have lyrics attached to all of them now too. So whatever platform you go to, if you're like me, I always got the CDs with the leaflets with the lyrics, because I wanted to be right there singing it with you, right? So I made sure to get my lyrics up on those platforms too. So if you want to sing with me at home, you can do that too.
Very cool. And
video.
do you have plans for a music video for it?
I do actually. No date yet. I have a recording date, but I just don't have a release date. I'm not sure how long editing takes, because guess what? I don't know how to video edit. But it's going to be coming out, I think, let's see, within 2 months.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, probably sooner, but yeah, everything's just in the works right now. I think it got confirmed 2 days ago, so
perfect.
I'm excited.
Love it. Do you have any shows lined up people can look forward to?
I do. I'm really excited. I haven't officially announced, but I'll tell you. I'm actually doing an Ontario brewery tour, and I'm calling it City Girl in a Truck.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
I drive a little Ford. It's bright yellow, and now I have a little black cap on the back, so I look like a bumblebee. So I'm going to be going around pretty much anywhere in Ontario, maybe even other provinces, but have to book those still. But I'm hitting breweries and bars, but I have so many bookings at breweries. I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I will be announcing on my social media this Sunday. I go live every Sunday, called Sunday Serenade. And that's when I'm going to be doing my official announcement, but it's all good. You guys heard it here first,
right here. With that being said, tell everyone where they can find you on social media so they can get that info.
All right. If you type with the little @ symbol usually, but sometimes not, Courtney Bowles Muse. All right. Need to explain this. Not music, Muse, MUSE. And the reason is not because I think I'm like so great that I'm a muse. It's because that my name is so long, Courtney Bowles Music, that on 2 of the many platforms, it was too long. So I had to change the IC to an E. So it does indeed stand for music. I am not that full of myself, but you can find me, Courtney Bowles Muse, on all the social media platforms, and just Courtney Bowles for music platforms.
Perfect. All right, guys, go grab her new single, Wanted. And Courtney, thank you so much for chatting today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stay in touch, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Take care.